for you to remain focused.
It is a CO bench on a Friday here in Kampala, straight out of the capital city of Uganda to the rest of the world, is when we bring you the CEOs who are on the rise, or those who are already on the top, or those who are leaving the hot seat, coming down. What's next for a leader is what the CO bench is all about. And of course, this week in the studio, my guest needs no introduction. He's a man who has done it. He's a man who has been on the journey. The man on top, Elijah Chitaka. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
They say we are supposed to bonga, but also now they're saying we can't do this because of COVID-19.
Right.
But welcome to the program. How are you doing?
I am good. I'm good. I'm busy.
Okay.
It's such a busy time.
Okay.
I think it's very busy for technologists. I guess that's the upside of the pandemic,
Yes.
if there is such a thing.
Yes.
It's kind of placed technologists in a very unique position at this time. I think that a lot of the technologists are like me. They're as busy as we are, and we're not complaining.
Yes.
It's a good relief.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting thing because some of us are struggling to find what to do. And some of us are now questioning, did I make the right decision when I was in school? Did I study the right thing? Or should I go back and study technology so I can be relevant for the time? And all of these things are going on in people's minds. And so many people seem to think that it's only doom and gloom.
Yeah.
There's nothing light about it. But you're saying you're very busy. And which is a very interesting part of the discussion. But welcome to the program, Elijah. The CO bench exists to bring the life of those who are on the journey to the forefront. And of course, when somebody makes it to the CEO, part of their life is always about talking about that company, that company, that company. My entire experience with the CEOs that I've met in the time that I've lived, none of them get to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
They never know the story about themselves. They get lost in the process of leading us or leading the organization and making things happen, to the point that by the time they realize where they are, it's way too late. Some of them start to wonder whether they were in the right place, they did the right thing, or they made the wrong decision.
Yeah.
So we decided that the CEO bench will be that platform that gives opportunity to people to actually speak about themselves. So you're on the show today to speak about Elijah Chitaka.
That's new.
Yes, and
For a change.
yes, because you're always speaking about FESA, you always talk about the organization that you've worked for before, and many of them. I was reading one of your interviews and listening to them, and you're talking about Google, you're talking about Barclays Bank, you're talking about the journey is about other people, places, but not about Elijah Chitaka. So we want to start from a very lighter note.
Okay.
Who is Elijah Chitaka?
I'm Ugandan, first of all. I think that's important to clarify. A lot of people get confused for whatever reason. I think it used to be worse when I had, when I was young and I had dreadlocks.
Yes.
And I was still traveling around Africa quite often. and people always assumed I wasn't Ugandan. But I'm Ugandan. I was born and raised here. I studied here. I'm a computer science grad from a famous school, computer science at Makerere University. I consider myself a music enthusiast. I call myself a music industry entrepreneur. I've started many companies that target musicians because I believe that's my who. That's who I'm here to serve, in this world to serve. But I've also done many things in music. I've been on radio for 16 years. Long as that sounds, I've been on Radio 1 for a very long time.
Yeah.
I've been involved in the world of jazz for equally a long time. So mostly I revolve around family, music, and technology. So today you said I shouldn't talk too much about my day job as a technology executive, but that's my other life. I can't quite split that from myself because the line between work and life is now more blurred than ever. But for many technologists, it's always been. So it's just, that's the package of who you become.
Yes.
It's what you do, what you believe, and who you serve.
Okay.
I think that's the total of who you become.
True.
Yeah.
I think I like the preamble, and one of my next question to get pretty much into knowing who you are, Elijah. If you were to take us to a story of your journey from childhood to where you are right now, did you ever see yourself becoming who you are today? And what was the journey like, or what has been the journey like to this moment?
Did I ever see? I can't say I ever saw, but I'm also not shocked. And I'm not sounding arrogant or anything.
Yeah.
I think that I've been lucky to have a few people around me that have really believed in me a lot from a very early stage. And those people caused me to believe in myself. You know how you meet someone and they believe strongly in you. You're convinced this must be true. Yes. So one of those people is my brother. My brother is called Patrick Mukalazi. And fortunately or unfortunately, he relocated to the UK. But he was very instrumental in forming who I've become. And to me, I credit him as the first person that really had strong convictions about my path and what I should be doing. And he was really convinced that I was meant to be in entrepreneurship. I was meant to start companies, and I was meant to figure out, what we call 0 to 1, figure out spaces that hadn't been figured out. So much so that he started me off with my very first computer and $300 to start my first company back in the 90s. So when you talk about my journey and did I see myself here, because of such people, I'm not surprised. Most of these are much older than me. So they must have seen something. So they kind of guided, either consciously or unconsciously, they guided who I became. And so it wasn't a big shock, that this is where I ended up. And then on the music side, I grew up in church. My mom is a big church person. And so church is synonymous with music. A lot of great singers globally, and even here, come from church. A lot of them have a church background. So I've always been exposed to live music from a very young age. In church, started playing piano as a child. I played the guitar. My mom took me for saxophone lessons at 12. So I'm also not shocked that I'm into music, because that was kind of built into me, at a very early age. And exposure is really important for formation, and what you expose, individuals to at that early stage, I think can stick. Lucky for me, I think it stuck on the right path. So I don't have major regrets.
Okay. It is said that what is modeled before people has got to do a lot with what is molded in people when they're growing up. And you rightly put that together. So growing up, Elijah, what did you want to be in life?
What did I want to be in life? I wanted to be impactful. That's the honest truth. I don't think I can say I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a pilot. Not really. I think that the people I admired all were very innovative people that were bold enough to start, to start executing on new ideas. And that's what I was attracted to from a very early stage, when I started figuring out, what do people do with their lives as they grow up. I never quite thought I would be, a corporate executive. And in fact, I haven't really. I consider my corporate stints missions or assignments, and I consider entrepreneurship my home. So I think that's what I wanted to be, and lucky for me, that's what I've become. That's still what I want to be. Now, that's what I want to be. I want to be someone that is bold enough to see new spaces and be able to take that first step if no one has taken that step.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Well, I guess those who nominated you, Mr. Chitaka, knew exactly what they're looking for.
Okay.
And I'm seeing some very interesting comments here on WhatsApp, and people sending comments here on WhatsApp. So Elijah Chitaka is here. Elijah Chitaka is the CEO and the co-founder of Feza. Feza is a technology company, an entertainment company to say the least. Born out of Uganda, I think 4 or 5 years now.
5 years now.
Living, and it's said that when a company goes beyond 4 years, crossing to 5, chances of them succeeding are very high and staying alive very high, because the world said or says that Uganda is the most entrepreneurial country in the world.
Yeah.
But also the rate at which our companies don't see the first birthdays are very high.
True.
And so Harvard University and I think Virgin studied quite a bit to try and understand why this doesn't happen. And I think they zeroed down to say they still didn't have an answer to why our entrepreneurship or entrepreneurial businesses failed in their stage. But you are 5 years into this thing, Mr. Elijah. I wanted to ask you a question. What are you looking for in life?
Okay, so let me first try and unpack
the
high failure rate.
Yes.
So at the very sort of theoretical level, but which also plays out into the actual world, there is the famous traditional factors of production.
Yes.
So there is a big lack of capital, and capital is important if companies are to survive and grow. There is a big lack of, I won't say labor, because labor is very retrospective. So you're looking really at contemporary skill sets. I would almost say like future-ready skill sets. That's low in supply. Good talent is
in Uganda.
Across the board, actually, but Uganda as well. It's very hard to make good hires and to keep good hires, because there are few and many people are after them, and most of them might be bigger than your budget. So talent is really important. I think the other factor I see is commitment and resilience. Entrepreneurship is hard. Starting companies is hard business. I've started 3 companies. My first company was back in the early 2000s, True African. When companies succeed, it looks like they manage to do it overnight. But the truth is that there is a long journey, that they went through when you didn't know about them, when they didn't matter. And a lot of people don't make it through that season. It's really, really tough. It's been the same every time I've started companies. It was the same with True African. And when True African became successful, most people thought, oh, this was an overnight success, but we're literally at the brink of bankruptcy. That company was about to close before we raised money, before we met the people that invested into True African, and then gave it a new lease on life. So that resilience, most people don't have. And so you don't make it out of that cycle because it's rough. And Feza has been the same. Feza has been rough for the first couple of years until we found product market fit. So I think those are really important, and if you trace back why they're failing, you'll find that that's one of those things is playing a big role. What do I look for in life? I look for peace. I usually say that I'm not young anymore. I've been around for a long time. I mean, I've been in industry for over 20 years. And the more you grow, the more you realize like peace of mind is really important. And I look for that. So I'm very deliberate on what I introduce into my environment and the bearing it has on my state of mind. Because if you don't have peace in your mind, you can't focus. And without clarity, without focus, you can't move forward. So I look for peace. That's really important to me. I don't really look for success, whatever definition that is. I think success is just a result of what you do. It's not something you go looking for. I think it should just manifest itself if you focus on the right things. So I don't look for it. Mostly peace, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Chitaka, I like the train of thoughts. I'm a leadership coach. Spent 12 years understanding what they call, or studying what they call human kinetics.
Yeah.
It's a mix of so many things: science, prescription, science and curative science versus, preventive science and medicine. And along the way, I have discovered so many things that people miss in life. One of them being, I never find people who are looking for peace of mind. They say it will come after I'm successful. And in my studies of human health and fitness, I realized that without peace of mind, that human being can never be successful.
Yeah.
Without peace of mind, that human being can never be very productive, and its marginal productivity of that human being, if we put it that way, can never be realized. But yet it is something that people miss.
Yeah.
Here you are saying that you look for peace of mind in everything you do, not really success. Success would come when you attain that.
Yeah.
Because we know that the strength of the factor of production that will give success is if Elijah is fit and healthy. I want to take you to this question, Elijah. And something that is, I would say, what is the best thing that has ever happened to you through the years as Elijah?
Wow. Like one thing?
Yes.
If it's one thing?
Yes. Or even two, you can give us.
Yeah, I think
one thing that when you look at it says, man, that was it. That was a turning point for me. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. Of course, there are many things that have happened to you along the years. Yeah.
Okay, so if I was to package it as one, I mean, that's difficult because first of all, I'm a spiritual person.
Yes.
So then naturally I would say, my understanding of the promise of God and how to invoke it. Yeah. But I don't think that's what you're looking for.
No,
so
but
let me give you a
yes.
Let me give you a second one.
Yeah.
That might be more in line with this theme. I think it's actually people. The best thing that has ever happened to me is people that believe strongly in me. And so it's easy to think that I'm self-made because of my history, like those that know me. But the truth of the matter is that no one is self-made. You're just a sum of the people that have believed in you and what they've put together, to enable you to kind of progress. So the best thing that has happened to me is really those people. And those people have kind of stuck with me all through my journey. And I talked about my brother. Of course, that's not to discount everyone else in my life, but there are people that have been like very, very instrumental. So he's one of them. He's probably the earliest.
That's Patrick?
Patrick. Yeah. And then the gentleman that first invested in True African, Eric Kamau.
Wow.
I think Eric is still running it. I haven't kept up because I exited and
And I've not seen him. I've heard from him a long time. I used to hang around with him a lot with him at Stakeout back in the days.
Yeah. But he was very instrumental in like my journey. Then the other person, I mean, I could name them. They're few. It's a very small group of people. But those people have stayed with me like for a long time. And every time I go away and come back, they're always there. And I think that's the biggest asset you can ask for, especially in our world of entrepreneurship, that people, you have a few people in your corner that believe strongly and can open doors for you and can make things happen that you would otherwise struggle to make happen yourself. So, aside, if we leave the spiritual side, I think for me, that's the thing. It's these people that have been placed, in my path to guide me to where I need to go. That's the best thing.
Wow. Well, Elijah Chitaka is the CEO and the co-founder of Feza. We're going to take a break, and the CEO bench will be right back. We want to hear from you. Do you have kisses or disses for Elijah or for myself? It's okay. We live in a glass house. We don't throw a stone. But we're basically saying, please send in your comments and kisses. Those who voted Elijah is actually here. I think I'm enjoying the interview with Elijah very much. And after the break, I will take Elijah through the journey of leadership, change management, and transformation. We'll be right back after the break.
an army of sheep led by a lion will beat an army of lions led by a sheep. That's a fake.
Yes.
So let's be very honest about this thing, and really understand that you need to understand where you lie and where you fall. So it's very important for us to understand that leadership has to be definitive. You can't be laissez-faire. It has to be definitive. You have to be strong, just like a lion. You know, when a lion meets an elephant or a buffalo or whatever, the buffalo and all these animals run away. And yet, by the way, they are stronger than the lion. They are heavier than the lion. They are more intelligent than the lion. They are taller than the lion. They run away. The lion, because of its attitude, it sees lunch. That is a leader.
Mr. Tenatra, thank you very much for coming to the CEO bench. And I want to ask you, so if you were elected the President of the Republic of Uganda today, what would be your first State of Nation address now, as you look into the camera and close the show?
I think my first State of the Nation address would first of all to... I think I'll just close it down.
Welcome back from the break. This is the CEO Bench. My name is Ed Yokela, and in the studio is Elijah Chitaka, who is the CEO of Feza. And of course, Feza is an entertainment and technology company looking after music and the artists in Uganda. It's safer to say Elijah is in a creative space and as well as the technology space, changing lives and giving life meaning to as many people as possible. Elijah, welcome back to the program. Before we went for a break, I asked you a question which usually many people don't seem to have an answer to.
Yeah.
And I was quite very interested to hear your thought patterns and the perspective and your attitude towards self. I actually believe that you have a lot of self-actualization. And I'm a strong student of leadership.
Yeah.
Many years, and I decided to go into what we call transformational leadership, which is a leadership approach that looks at how people cognitively retain information, emotionally are connected to it, and subsequently what informed their decision to either accept certain things or reject certain things. But also, it causes change in an individual as a leader first, with the view of turning those who follow them to being leaders. And the ultimate goal is to change the social systems for the good of everyone. Now, that leadership approach is something I practice very well, and it's something I've been teaching for a very long time. And I meet so many executives along that path. And you're one of those people who are headed to the top, already there. And I would say you are still rising to the top. We want to dive into change management. The question I ask you about what is the best thing that ever happened to you, most people don't quite have the answer to it because they say there are too many. But you said the best thing that ever happened to you. In fact, the answer that I think was the best answer for me was the spiritual part of it. Every time a person is not in touch with themselves, chances of them being swayed away are very high. The decision you made to have a certain group of people, tight-knit group of people in your life, is key. But I want to take you to leadership, Elijah. And the leadership question is going to be very simple. I want to go straight to, some things that people usually don't look at, but they should be looking at. And that leadership question is, Elijah, as a leader, what excites you most?
What excites me most as a leader? Okay, so that's a deep question. Huh? So that's a deep question. What's the ultimate objective? I think the ultimate objective of being, I don't want to sound too abstract, but I'll try. Let me start from here, then I'll come back to a level that maybe others will connect with. Huh? So I think that we're here to touch people. Spiritually, it's that we're here to reflect, the goodness of our Creator onto others. What people call shining your light. Okay, so if that's the end goal, then that's what should excite you. what should excite people is the betterment of others.
Yeah.
Now that's counterintuitive, because you might think it's actually the betterment of yourself, but in the betterment of others, you become better yourself. So it's one of those counterintuitive links,
Yeah.
that you actually have to be selfless for you to become better. So for me, that's what excites me, and most of what I've done has been, when I said my who, has been focused on my who. Because I know that as they grow and as they become better themselves, inevitably I'm becoming better. And there are many ways to explain that. You've had, parents that say, how your kid turns out is a reflection of your efforts. Or leaders in corporate environments, you're just as good as your team. Because that's a reflection of your leadership. And so it's this constant thing that it's actually not about you. It's counterintuitive, but it's never about you. It's always about, the betterment of others. And if you focus on that, then, the betterment of self will just manifest. So that excites me. I know that sounds abstract.
I don't think so, actually, really. I think you're in a good place.
But that's that's what it is.
Okay.
That's what it is. I'm not looking for much in my life. Like, I live a very simple life, and I'm quite comfortable in a good way. We used to say uncomfortably excited. So I'm okay. I'm content, but I'm also hungry. For more impact. I'm hungry to see, what else we can do for the betterment of others. Because if we do that, then the value will return. So that's what excites me.
Okay.
It's very abstract. I'm sorry. I know.
No. Actually, I'm not. I don't think it is very abstract at all. I think it is very deep. For somebody who is looking at, and I think that the quality of the people who nominated you to come onto the CEO bench pretty much, tell us what they were looking for to hear from you. And I'd like to say thank you very much to everybody who is watching the show from all across the world. Thank you for being a part of the CEO bench, growing bigger and better. And I've seen some of your comments here. Some people saying, I'm watching the show from the US. The link in Uganda seems to be a bit sloppy. I guess it's because Uganda is a very special country in the continent at the moment. Our internet try to fly around, the city and back sometimes. So, but I'll have the team look into it as the show goes on, and we want to show you that if you're having any problem, the show is definitely going to be rerun. If you don't get it smooth, we're definitely going to fix it. And I want to say thank you very much to somebody in Australia. I'm looking forward to Elijah Chitaka's more interview. I actually love what is going on right now. And David Okwi here is saying, is pretty much what I was looking for. Elijah, let's go to leadership. Personal leadership. There is what they call appointing self, giving self meaning, and leading self to a next direction in life. And on the question of leadership, I want to ask you first. What is leadership to Elijah? And what is personal leadership to you?
Okay, so, I mean, the quick answer is Colin Powell's answer. The ability to get others to follow you, even if it's out of curiosity. Because you can't lead if no one follows, I guess. That's the quick answer. I think that leadership is about vision, leadership is about focus, and leadership is about pathways. And so those three things, if you have those, if you have the ability to clarify vision for others, to drive focus towards that, and to kind of chart out a pathway, to actualize that vision and make it real, I think you qualify as a leader. So for me, that's what leadership is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Chitaka, by your understanding and that definition of leadership, who do you actually think, or who do you think is a leader? And are you one yourself?
We're all leaders.
Yes.
At different scales,
Yes.
At different levels,
Yes.
and at different stages.
Yes.
But the strange thing about life is the lack of this, binary situations. And I know that people love, binary situations because it's yes or no, or it's black or white.